The records are falling. Sports business podcast, the Sporticast.
All right, that intro not sponsored by Bruin Capital. I'll tell you what I'm doing there. Chris McGowan, our guest, Exec VP, Chief of Club Performance over at MLS. Chris, it got back to us that the folks at Bruin Capital were growing tired of our intro, where I sort of graded Ebbins, his enthusiasm, his creativity. I've given up a few weeks. I didn't think it was all that good. There was a delay. It was almost like you weren't ready, Eben. I'm not sure what was going on. Maybe it's the technical snafus. So, Chris, please, yeah, it could be the internet. Please give me your take on Mr. Novi Williams' intro there.
I actually thought it was really good.
Oh, another suck-up guest. Another suck-up guest.
Came in strong, and I wasn't expecting that, so it was a great way to start the show.
All right, Eben, take it away. You're the one telling me, MLS, the record this, record that. How far can you go, Chris? How far can you go in this interview without saying Messi? How far can you go? I'm just curious.
I won't go that far. I would be dumb to not. It'd be like other leagues not mentioning their star players. So I embrace it. And I mean,
go for it. Give me all your Messi metrics that you could put right on the top. I want to hear how great this guy is for business right on the top.
Well, I mean, I think it starts with how great he is on the pitch. I mean, he's come in, he's playing unbelievably, and I think that helps. But I mean, he puts us in front of a global audience and creates intrigue in our country at a level that has probably never been seen in our league. There have been examples of big star players coming into it, but I'm only 15 months in, and this is pretty amazing. Like once in a lifetime opportunity to have the best player in the world play routinely in front of our fans is just something that you gotta marvel and enjoy and have fun with it, but also take advantage of it from a business perspective.
Give me one opportunity that came your way that even the most creative sports marketer thinker would not have said, oh, I didn't believe that would have happened. Give me something that's come your way because of Leo.
I think, getting in a car and Uber drivers asking you what you do, you tell them you work for Major League Soccer, and they immediately start talking about Lionel Messi. I mean, it just puts you in the conversation at a level that maybe you didn't think could happen because no one's ever seen anything like this. So I think that's the benefit of it. Striking up conversations about our sport, about our league, because someone's connected with someone that's going to be playing here is truly special. And, I've worked in sports 30 years, and you kind of forget about taking advantage and enjoying these amazing things that can happen. I mean, you can have a losing season, and it sucks when you're running a team and you're not winning, but it's awesome when you win a championship. And it's awesome to be able to say you got to see certain players play, and you can look at every league, whether it was Kobe, and what LeBron, Sidney Crosby. I mean, to be able to see these people live is truly special. So I think just taking advantage of it and embracing it is what I've been trying to do.
As good as Leo is, Chris, obviously he's not going to play forever. How do you feel right now about the growth that you've seen, and how much of it you feel like you retain when Leo decides that he's no longer playing for Inter Miami, and the 70,000 person crowds in Kansas City maybe aren't an option in the immediacy after he's gone?
Well, I think we'll find out. I mean, a lot of customers have come in, a lot of teams have sold season tickets around this, and you find out in a couple of years if those customers are retained, and the early signs are that they are. The one thing you can't forget as well, in the theme of having fun, is going to our games is really, really incredible. The environment in our stadiums is second to none. So yeah, we may capture them because of Messi, but when you go to a game, it's awesome. The environment's electric. The game is good. People are having fun. It's not, significantly too expensive as some other leagues are. So I think that's what ultimately captures people. You got to introduce them, and this is a good way to do that. And then our environment and our staffs can, do the rest and keep them and make them lifetime fans, and that's kind of the goal.
What are the metrics there that you're looking at? Is it just looking at other teams and their commercial sales? What is it that you see that makes you say, okay, these fans are here to stay. These fans we'll find out in 2 years or a year, whenever it is come time?
A couple things. I think just general fan base growth. So, we have a lot of core soccer fans. We have a lot of people that like the game already that are big fans of the MLS. So now we're getting introduced to just general sports fans that want to come see something like this. I think that's something that we're tracking, and as a league and our clubs are really focused on taking advantage of this moment by growing our fan base, and we have all kinds of metrics around that. And then, I'm a simple guy, started in ticket sales many years ago, is renewing customers. I mean, that's the ultimate thing. It's the lifeblood of our industry, is making sure our season ticket bases are growing. And they certainly are now, but in 2-3 years, the story is going to be told. Are we retaining those kind of new fans that are coming in? And I think we will. We've got really good executives running our teams. We've got presidents that are laser focused on sales. And I think that's something we do really well. And then when you have a great environment and people have fun, it's a good recipe. And I think the story is going to be very positive a couple of years from now.
All right, Chris, let me give you a Wolf of Wall Street test here. But you can make it soccer. But we got video or somebody, sell me this pen. This pen I'm holding. Sell me this pen, but make it soccer.
Are you saying I'm too salesy or not?
No. I just want to see the exercise. Sell me this pen. You've been doing this a long time. You said 30 years. Sales is the lifeblood of all these sports organizations. Sell me that pen, my friend. Let me see what you got.
What kind of pen do you use currently?
Whatever's freebie, whatever's thrown on my desk, whatever somebody else has not chewed upon. But this is a new one, a new Sportico pen that we have for our event. It is. I don't like a pen that's very light. This has a little heft to it, a little bit better than our old pens, but I want you to sell it to me.
I actually have
Scott
a pen.
Selling the pen.
My favorite pen is one I got at a bar in London, and I asked the waiter if I could have the pen, and he gave it to me. So that pen actually looks like it. So my favorite pen looks exactly like this one, so you should buy that one. Buy more of them. You should buy 10 of them because they're going to run out of ink because you probably write so much. So you better get them while they last. So I go buy,
Surprisingly, it's more at the keyboard than on the pen and paper these days, but I do miss the pen and the paper. There's a sound. Do you listen to Malcolm Gladwell's podcast by any chance?
I do not.
There's an audio cue on the intro to his podcast where it's the sound of a pencil writing on paper, that scratchy noise, that triggers me in a very positive way. It is reminiscent of an older time of freehand writing, and I love it. It does. I get a feeling when I hear it. I think it's absolutely great. But anyway, I often go on a little tangent. But let me go down your resume here, Chris. So let's go in chronological order, going backwards. Before MLS, you were with Illich, that's the Tigers and the Red Wings. Vulcan, Paul Allen's company, Blazers, Seahawks, AEG, Galaxy, Kings. These are big platform companies. So what do you view, or how do you view sports teams? Are they teams? Are they businesses? Are they platform companies? Are they global? Are they media companies? How do you view, what are these sports enterprises?
I think they're a little bit of all of what you just mentioned, but I always start at a place where they are assets for fans, and they're supposed to be, something that's a big part of a community. And you start there and build. And I think, sometimes organizations are one-team organizations. I've happened to work in organizations that where owners own multiple teams, and I think when you do that, it's really smart to look at a platform and what that can lead to, or what that can be from an efficiency standpoint. I think you can learn from other leagues. So if you have the opportunity to work for an owner that has teams in multiple leagues, it's kind of a good environment for that. So I think it's a little bit of everything you mentioned, but it also depends on what the setup is for you, where you currently work.
Do you notice, you work with, we'll get into your current job in a second, but you work across the many different teams in Major League Soccer. Do you notice a difference in the ones that are owned by groups that have other professional teams, be they NBA or be they NFL, versus the ones that are standalone?
Yeah, because sometimes they have centralized models. Sometimes they have different resources that the standalone one-team owner model has. So yeah, there are differences. For sure, we have a few of that in MLS, and you're seeing it more and more in other leagues as well. But yeah, there are definitely differences.
The part you oversee. Oh, good.
I'm sorry.
I was saying the part you oversee is the club performance and optimization group. That's a lot of words. I'll just keep going, Evan. I came from an NBA world years ago. I grew up under David Stern, and it was Teambo. That was sort of your team and business operations, where somebody at the league office went and looked at the entire league and tried to bring best practices. Curious, is that how you view it? You're trying to bring best practices to all the teams in the league from a league perspective?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of what we do. We certainly looked at Teambo and the model and what they've built. I got to build it from scratch, so I was able to look at other leagues as well. I really like what the NFL does in this space in their club business development group. So yeah, I think we definitely, in the first year of running this group, we've ramped up the sharing of best practices and identifying what best practices are. And we definitely focus on soccer, but we also focus across the industry in other leagues, other sports, entertainment, kind of all out. People that are taking care of customers and fans, all over you can find best practices. So we have a group that's what they do. We send out a monthly communication with a bunch of different, things that we think are best practices or thought starters. And it's been viewed pretty helpful for teams as they're trying to make these decisions in, their particular markets.
Is it hard to get teams to buy into sharing? I know I've talked to teams about things that they're doing, and sometimes they view these as state secrets, that if this is working or this specific strategy is playing out financially, they don't want other people to know about it. Do you ever run into that problem where teams don't want you sharing things that are working for them?
Very occasionally. I'd say in the MLS, it's less than other leagues that I've worked in. There is a camaraderie and a spirit amongst owners and presidents that I haven't seen. And I think it's because people are believing this is almost a cause, growing a sport, that isn't as big as some of the other ones that are out there. And, everyone's competitive and they want to do great stuff in their market. For the most part, they'll share. We have a lot of open dialogue with meetings. Different groups we put together to kind of tackle certain business challenges. And I've felt like at the MLS, the camaraderie and transparency has been really good.
Give me a big problem that had a good solution.
Good problem that had a good solution is we share a lot of premium seating ideas in stadiums. So you got to stay ahead of the game in regards to clubs, special seating areas, areas that millennials like, and people will build a stadium and think they got it covered, and a couple of years later it feels like they got to freshen it up a little bit. And across the MLS, we're seeing a lot of that. Even though a stadium's it could be brand new, like in Columbus, they're putting new products in, and that stadium's not that old. So that's a challenge that all stadiums have, and it's a challenge really that anyone running a sports team has. So we capture what's going on in the industry. We know who's doing new stuff, and we can put them together quickly and efficiently, help teams that are trying to put new products in a stadium. That's a good example of coming together and tackling something in a more efficient fashion, and we help kind of broker that.
So you said you built your team from scratch. Walk us through what it looks like. How many people are on it? How did you build the thing? What is the communication like across all teams? What is the structure? Take us inside the way that this team operation came together.
Yeah, so we have 14 people, so not huge. We're not going to be, as big as some of the groups in other leagues. And it's comprised of a club performance group, which I'll talk about, a club ticketing group, a club sponsorship group, and MLS Canada. That's kind of our group. And then we interface and matrix in with all the other departments throughout the league to make sure that we are taking club feedback in regards to making league decisions. So I can bring, because I've run teams, so I can bring a perspective that maybe people that have only worked for a league do. So what we're trying to do is understand what is important to clubs, and we can voice that whenever we're in a meeting at the league, making a big decision. We can bring that club perspective into decision making, which I think is super additive, and sometimes at leagues that can be lost a little bit. So obviously I've ran teams for a long time, so I can bring that perspective. But we focus on the core things, like how do we sell tickets more efficiently, better? How do we sell sponsorships more efficiently and better? And then how do we service clubs? So that club performance group, it's 5 people. I split the teams up amongst kind of account managers. So a club knows when they have a challenge or they need something from the league, they have a single point of contact to call, get it started, and then we'll figure out and bird dog and help them with what they need from there. I'm a big communicator, so I love systematic meetings. So we have a president's meeting every month. I have an advisory group. We do a ticketing call twice a month. We do a sponsorship call twice a month. And we're trying to bring people together to have dialogue. And no one has answers to everything, but if you're bringing people together pretty regularly, we have really good people running our teams throughout the league. So that's what we've tried to do and foster from a league to club perspective in our group.
Is data sharing a part of this? Are you sitting on a mound of data of fans across the entire league, or is that something that's still kind of siloed team by team?
I would say it's a big opportunity moving forward. It's a little bit siloed, but it's one of our big work streams and initiatives as a league is to organize our data. Clearly, the clubs own the fan, and our clubs all have really, organized, well-ran databases. And then we as a league have access to fans that maybe those clubs don't. So we organize that, and when it makes sense, we can provide those leads to clubs because they're from various means that they don't have access to from their local markets. So that's how it works, and it's a big focus of ours going forward, and it is in every team and every league, and we're no different.
Anything nice to say about Hugh Weber in Seattle? Friend of the program. I thought I'd give you a chance to say something nice about Hugh.
Well, I just got off the phone with him actually. So
he didn't call me today. All right. Well, lucky you.
He's he's awesome. So that's a good example. What experience and having him in the league is super helpful. I can always run things off with him. He's seen it all. So he's been great. So I only have nice things to say about him.
Well, that's good. But can I give you a pet peeve now? Speaking of not nice things, can I give you a pet peeve? Everybody talks about data, and transparency, and we love it. I can't find anything about your media deal, Chris. I don't know. I get it. You went the streaming route with Apple. That's fine. I don't think, and nobody does, that it's going to be the size of an NFL audience. That's fine. You were in the vanguard. You were front runner. I got it. All good. Where's the transparency? Why can I not? You'll tell me ticket sales are up, sponsorship is up, this is up, and all I hear is, well, more people are watching now than before Messi played. Yeah, thanks.
That's a good metric, though.
Well, more, there's scales of more. One person more and millions more. And I'm just curious, why the big secret? Is it you? Is it Apple? Is it both? Why can't we find out exactly what's going on the broadcast side?
I think that's above my pay grade.
Well,
At least I asked.
A question on this that I do have.
Oh no, you're froze again. Let's see if he bounces back in.
Okay. You guys edit, right?
Yeah, we could. I mean, we generally leave. Oh, hey, Edmund, you was froze there for a minute.
He's still frozen.
Oh, come on, dude.
Am I back?
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah, you may want to take off if you want to take off the video, maybe. But it was right at the start, so just take it from when you were starting your question.
All right. A question about that does interact with your job, Chris. But one of the things I heard from a lot of owners when the Apple deal started is that they were a little worried about how the availability of their matches on television directly affected ticket sales. That they used that as a sales mechanism if it was on broadcast television locally, which a number of teams were. I'm curious if you see an impact on the ticket sales side with the changes and putting all of the games or largely most of the games behind paywalls.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just got to look at the metrics, which I can talk about tickets, and we're at an all-time high in tickets. We're over 11 million fans. I think it beats every soccer league in the world except the Premier League. You might have to fact check that. And it just so happens that the last 2 years from a ticket sales perspective have been amazing, and that syncs up with when we signed our Apple deal. So I think the Apple deal has actually helped ticket sales. I think having games on Wednesday, Saturday is a really good message for fans. They know when our games are going to be. Saturday nights are huge in our venues. So I think it's something that's helped, and the metrics support that.
Is there a theme of questions or problems you see when the teams are coming to you saying we need help with X? Do you see a theme developing, or are they different in different markets, or is it this is sort of related to what Portland is asking? We had that from LA. We're hearing that in New York. Are there themes of challenges that teams are looking to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of both, but generally, if a team's struggling with something or inquiring about something, other teams are going to be in the same boat. So we do get a lot of that. A lot of it is around league decisions versus club decisions. So, we have to do a lot of clarification. And for me, it's about being transparent. And once they get your insight and understand reasons behind certain decisions, it's pretty good. I mean, the relationship, I would say, with our clubs is really good from a league to club perspective. But then there are one-offs that, are market specific that, only certain organizations deal with. And it can be, it can be expense related, it can be ticket pricing, or it's kind of all over the place. So it's a little bit of both.
What are you most proud of this season?
I think we've built a really good team of folks, and I'm a relationship guy, so for me, none of this works if we're just suits at the league office. If we don't have really good relationships with key executives at teams, I don't think this is going to be super successful. So I think in year one we've created great relationships with clubs, and that's going to help us produce results or help produce results going forward. And then I think it took a lot of work, but learning club by club what they need, what they're good at, what they're struggling with. I mean, we flew into every market. We spent a lot of time just kind of trying to understand how we can help them more. So I'm pretty proud about that as well. I think it's been a productive year, and I think it's set us up to have a lot of success in the future.
Can I ask you about toilet paper?
Sure.
Great. Years ago, and Eben knows this story, but years ago I had an NBA executive call me and say, I want to get all the teams together and reduce our unit cost, and we should be group ordering toilet paper in our venues, but we don't. We don't know why. Vendor specific. Just your thoughts on that as a principle and group ordering, unit cost. Do you kind of, is that something where you're looking at? What can the teams do together to reduce cost?
Yeah, I think it's a good concept. I don't see it work as much as you would think it would, because everyone individually has certain relationships and certain reasons and rationale and different vendors in their buildings. It's really hard, but there are time to time where you can do a league deal that can pass cost savings across the enterprise, whether it's training or software. So we're looking for that. More than anything is we want to be able to provide advice, not on preferred vendors, but like, hey, if you're trying to tackle this problem, here's what we believe are the 5 best companies out there working in this space, and the contact information, I would go start here. That's how we can help clubs from a centralization of vendors and partners perspective.
What's the profile of the person you would want in your group?
For me, someone that's really energetic and a good relationship person. I always start there. We have people that worked at clubs. We have people that have come from the finance industry that are really good with numbers. So it's a little bit all over the place. But for me, someone that wants to be in sports and has a lot of energy and willingness to learn. I don't know if that's a profile, but that's what I look for when we're filling roles, whether I was running teams or working at the league office.
Scott and I obviously talk to a lot of owners, and one of the things that everybody talks about is 2026, about the opportunity when the Men's World Cup is co-hosted in North America. How do you see, I'm curious specifically how you see your job changing in 2026. What are the specific ways you see on the team level, outside of generic American awareness and interest in soccer, how you see teams really capitalizing on the fact that the biggest sporting event in the world is going to be here for a few weeks?
So it's eyeballs and data and fans. How can we get all those people into our ecosystem and make them or turn them into MLS fans? But I think there's also a lot of just local market activation that can happen that's unique, whether it's watch parties or events around World Cups, whether you're a host city or not. And then we have a big work stream at the league putting together like a broader World Cup strategy at the league office, but also ways that we can help clubs take advantage of it. And it was a big moment. MLS was born, the year after a World Cup many years ago. So I think there's going to be something super impactful for our game and our league in and around leading up to the World Cup, and then hopefully after. A lot of that's still being worked on.
This could be a very interesting Doppler effect thing, because I don't know if that's outside your office or ours, but maybe if it passes yours, it'll be at ours soon. This could
It's
be
gonna
very
be here
interesting.
soon. I think it just went under my right
okay.
under my window.
All right, well, it'll be here soon, so that'll be the best Doppler effect we've ever had. Eben, did you want to get into the Delaware question that we had talked about? I want to know. I love
Well,
this.
We, saw that
we
you
do our
played-
homework here,
you
Chris.
Saw you played soccer at Delaware.
He was
Are
the
you still
captain. He
playing?
didn't
I'm
just play.
curious.
He was the captain of the team at Delaware.
Captain
This
of
is
the
King
Delaware
Blue
team.
Hen right there.
Yeah. Hopefully you didn't look up my record.
That we did
My
not.
college record's
Yeah.
bad also.
Yeah. So I was the captain. I did play, but I also had fun. So maybe our record wasn't the best, but the experience was amazing. And I will say my son, who's a college soccer player, is way better than I ever was. So there you go.
Stinks that.
Where
well,
is he playing?
University of
Denver.
Denver.
Yeah. Possibility a couple of years if Jackson wants to be in the net for the national champions. That's great. Maybe they can they know each other there. But the question that we discussed here, and we went and looking at age and all those things, were you the most famous Delaware Blue Hen until Joe Flacco? That's the question we had for you.
I'm a relatively I'm not even in the Delaware Hall of Fame, so
Oh,
that's
come
how
on.
bad I was.
Oh,
So
we gotta
come
fix
on.
that.
Yeah,
I
come
would say
on.
I would say Joe Flacco has multitudes of popularity above me.
All right, well, let you give me one more messy data point that we can end on that blows you away.
The amount of Inter Miami jerseys you see around the world now. Literally, I do this. I try to keep an eye out, and there's not many places I go and where I don't see Inter Miami jerseys, and I think that's an amazing, long-lasting effect for the league. An example: when I go see my son play at University of Denver, the little kids, the little club soccer kids that are there watching the game, they're all wearing Messi jerseys. And I think that's awesome for the league. You travel to Europe, in the weirdest places, you'll see Messi Miami jerseys. On the subway this morning, I saw one. So I think it's just kind of an amazing thing to see. You know, our brand is showing up in places that maybe it wasn't a couple of years ago, and that's the power of what he brings to our league.
The ubiquity of
I think
pink.
it really helps that Miami has just such a recognizable color. Also,
Yeah, it's the
That,
ubiquity of
you
pink.
see a
Very
Miami
smart.
jersey from 100 yards away, it's clear that that's an Inter Miami jersey. And
Yeah.
if the team colors were just blue and black or whatever, I think it would be a little bit harder. So it did work out really well in that regard as well.
Yeah.
I think.
They've done a great job in that space for sure.
All right. Well, Chris, this
He
is
is
where we
Chris-
let Eben close the show, and you and I will talk over him to
Well,
see if
thank
we
you very
can
much to
throw
Chris
him over.
McGowan.
There you go.
He is the chief of
So,
club performance.
how often
over
do you
at
get to
Major
see your
League
son play?
Soccer.
Do you
You
stream
can find
it? Do you
Scott
go?
Soshnick on Twitter.
No,
at
really, talk
Soshnick.
over him,
You
Chris.
can
We just
find
let
me
him
on
go.
Twitter.
Yeah,
Novi
so
_
we do.
Williams.
The good
Show
news
is
is you
produced
can
by Eric
watch
Greenewald.
every
Thank you
game
very
and
much
Yep.
to Aaron, Matt
like on
Palacio,
HTC
runs
Network and all those.
social and
They're
digital
great.
media.
Yes.
I'd like you
But
to know that
we
you
try
can
to go to
follow the
half the
show
games.
at
He's a
Sporticast,
sophomore,
which is the hub of the
I'm
Sporticast
feeling like
Media
as he,
Network.
you know, he plays like 20, 25, 30 minutes a game. When he starts playing more regularly, which will probably be next year,
Yep.
I'm going to want to go to every game. So
Yeah.
it's going to be something I'm going to have to balance.
Yep, that's something I don't miss. Again, my son